much simpler way to chain because this post is a lot smaller than that first one. I'm aiming to be well above the halfway point of the weight. And then all I'm going to do here, go through. That's it. So now all the other tension that I'm going to need is going to come from the bucket moving. So there's going to be enough slack, or once, like basically what I'm setting up with this loop is the amount of slack that I want once the post is standing, so that I can still kind of move it around without it being inhibited by this. But as I'm lifting it, you'll see that when I want it to move around less, I just send the bucket out, and this makes contact here, and then that cinches the chain up to it. So that's a really good way to give yourself the flexibility that you need to be able to maneuver a post like this. Simple. Simple. Nothing scary about it. From the post so that you can do things like that while still having it safely chained. And then you'll notice that I curl the bucket out, and then that brings me closer to the post. And I always, whenever I'm leaving the machine unattended like that, I'm making sure that the bucket is tight against the post and the chain so that the post can't just sway around it. So that's all coming from that motion. The reason I'm being so particular with this post is because it's got this curve to it, and anytime I find a curve like this in a tree, I just consider it to be one of the defining lines of the overall shape of the building. It's still not quite there yet, but I'm trying to get it so that I want the wall, there's a matching piece that I'm going to put on the other side. From this angle, I want this kind of effect of like a bulbous bottom that comes in and then it straightens out at the top. So it's almost there. And I just like that shape a lot. And I happened to find two trees that had that kind of same mirroring shape. So I'm putting them on either side of each other so that when all of the walls are actually built, it'll kind of follow that form. Kind of like a vase. It seems to be a shape that humans like in general.
Cool. Thank you.
It's a very human.
It's a very curvaceous shape.
Yeah, it's like
well.
big hips.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn close. You just got to go uphill a little, leaning down a little.
Well, you could do that with a brace, couldn't you?
That would be good. The bucket's going to be in the way. So you can see I'm placing the rocks in a way where they are kind of wedging it so that the base isn't going to move around anymore. There's still going to be concrete going in, but in the meantime, it's a good way to keep it from moving around. I don't want to put too many rocks in because I want the concrete to also have a solid amount of mass of its own, because the rocks kind of break up the strength of the concrete if you have too many of them. So this one's ready for bracing. Nice. I think that might have been it right there. We can knock that one in a little more. So we're doing some final adjustments to the posts here, just by pushing them the way we want them to go and wedging stones in. And this is our supervisor, Nancy. She doesn't like pretty much anything that we've done so far.
up a little thin so it flows nice and good in between, locking it all together for a nice footer.
So we're gonna start putting our band around these posts, which is gonna act as like the perimeter of the loft framing, and then also a way of uniting all these posts at a higher level. There's gonna be the deck at the bottom, and then a middle band, and then the roof band. So the more points of contact that they all share, the better. And we may even find that as we go up, if they're still wobbling a lot after we have the loft built, we might even drill through and do a cable all the way around and then tighten that cable. But this wood might be enough to have that effect. Do you like your guess? Do you want to guess it before I tell you?
Yeah, I do actually.
It's fun to guess. I bet you're gonna guess real close.
Right there.
Little high. Maybe that'd be nice.
You want on the far side of it?
Yeah, because we're gonna want to miter it to the next one basically. Yep. So almost 10. Might have to use one of the longer boards for this one. Oh yes, it's perfect. All right, what do we think? Which side is up? Which side is out? $17 from the top, and I may end up cutting some of the top off, but not at the post. So yeah, we'll go with the full 18. So the board's going to be touching the post here, and I just want to cut this part of the post out so that the board sits flat against it. And like I said, not only flat, but plumb. I don't want it to be crooked because it's going to be receiving other boards for the loft. So the other thing about this notch and creating a plane is that it needs to be square to the line. And you know, that means like not here, but here. So that's the string is helping us find the level, which is the height that the cut starts at, but it's also showing us what the plane is, because that board is gonna need to connect flat to this and to that. So as I'm looking at this, I'm looking at where the plane is, and I'm also looking at what the plumb is, and it's gonna be like that. And we measured this thing at 18. That's a big old chunky. It actually has to go. Pretty much all the way down to there.